Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well as we plummet straight into the dark and dreary months of the year. Just a quick message for my treasured subscribers. I'm still working on my much longer Black Lives Matter police brutality documentary. It's grown, the project's grown as it's gone along. It's different to what I imagined it being when I first started, but we're nearly there. But racism is the topic, and that brings me round to this video. Millwall football fans. Racist? Well, according to some, the decision for football fans to boo football players for kneeling and supporting Black Lives Matter is a clear-cut, unquestionable sign that racism in the UK is alive and well. But no one's arguing that racism is not alive and well somewhere.
Black Lives Matter is a political organisation, it's a political movement. I've been saying this for a while now. People are saying to me, no, this is not true, it's not political. And then we see that Black Lives Matter has registered as a political party. So this is inherently political. And if that was me, at that stadium, I would have probably booed as well, because I believe that Black Lives Matter is antithetical to the needs of Black people. And as a poll showing that 55% of people believe that Black Lives Matter has caused more division, I don't think this is necessarily an unpopular opinion to have.
It's quite frustrating to be in my early 30s and after so many years in the education system be given the false impression that adulthood consists of fewer morons. It's bollocks, right? You're in school, you're being taught subjects, being taught that if you don't buck your ideas up, you're going to leave school with fewer than 5 GCSEs and your life's going to be over. I mean, I went to a grammar school, so that was the shit I was getting told all the time. I remember being in history, the teacher was always telling us, you need to look at a range of different sources before you form your argument. Well, fuck all that, say people once they've left school, right? They don't care about looking at both sides of the argument or more than one side of the argument. They pick a side, plant themselves there for emotional reasons, usually because they already think they're on the side of the fucking angels. Abide by simple guidelines such as racism, bad, as if that, like, fucking, what? I was taught that from like the age of 5. Like, it was just, I'm 33, I've known racism is bad and illegal for, 3 decades.
A great many Black people are vastly exaggerating the extent to which racism touches their lives. And I know what happened to George Floyd. I know what happened to all of these people. And frankly, folks, I can take those statistics back to the 90s. I pay very close attention. However, the idea that to be a Black person, including a Black man, is to walk out into the streets and be ever at risk of being either abused by a cop or treated in a starkly inferior way by a white person is a lie.
Booing a player for making a political statement during a football match, when most people see the enjoyment of spectator sport as a time to have a break away from societal and personal difficulties, is not racist. It means that they don't need political messages shoved down their throat at a place where they don't think it's appropriate. It's pathetic the way that some people perceive the world, saturated in their own self-righteousness, that anybody who doesn't do or agree with all of the things that they do or agree with can only be a horrible, nasty person who deserves to lose all of their friends, get completely unfriended on social media, cancelled, their career's over, destroyed. Really? Really? The desire to lash out? I've been there. I know what it's like. Early 20s, for example, when you're an adult now, you're coming into the world, you need to make your mark, and you learn about issues that mean something to you, and you need to go on your personal crusade to wrong all the mistakes and tell people they don't understand. Oh, fuck off. I've been there. Then life goes on a bit, and you mature. When you work out, sometimes things are a little bit more complicated than you were led to believe. Dawn French is reprising her Vicar of Dibley role, which I was excited about that. I like Dawn French, it's good. But no, I'm not bothered now, because it said that she's going to be delivering Black Lives Matter sermons. Fucking hell. I hoped that Dawn French would be returning to our screens with something a bit more fucking original, rather than yet another star repeating the same message that we've heard for 5 months. As if that's the point that people disagree with anyway. It just goes to show just how out of touch people are when it comes to understanding different perspectives. All of the smug displays of moral superiority are delivered in a way that demonstrates that such people believe that the only people who may object to Black Lives Matter are white.
This anti-cop sentiment from this hateful ideology called Black Lives Matter has fueled this rage against the American police officer. I predicted this 2 years ago
The corporations, the schools, the churches, the people that have gotten behind Black Lives Matter, the organization, they think they're helping Black people. They think they're showing support for Black people, but actually it's the opposite.
Black Lives Matter's a fact, not a slogan, is what Dawn said on Twitter a few weeks ago. Actually, Dawn, Black Lives Matter is very much a slogan adopted by a political movement who have named themselves using an obvious, inarguable statement whereby any objections to the group's claims, goals, or agenda can be disregarded as people not caring about black lives. You just don't care about black lives. No, it's very clever, but very sneaky. People don't disagree that black lives matter, right? But people, black people, disagree with the political view that white people in systemic racism are the reasons why some people of different ethnicities are in a better economic position than others. Someone could even argue, if they really wanted to, that like dying of cancer in some way is probably systemic. You know, you can find a reason. You can more people are dying of cancer over there. It's systemic. It's systemic. Well, yeah, but when you realise that there are also people out there that are smoking 20 cigarettes a day for 30 years, pointing that out doesn't mean that you don't care about cancer being a problem. It just means that moaning about cancer being systemic, right, isn't going to achieve much. Right? And if you want to point out, for instance, that there's a high number of black people in prison, but don't want to talk about the high crime rate within black, especially inner city communities, then we're not going to get anywhere. Right? Taking the knee, chanting, rioting, condescending tones will not do anything to change the minds of people in society who are truly racist. You know, like the fucking American History X type people, biting a curb, right? White racist skinheads, right? What do you think taking the knee is going to do to those people? Fuck all. What it will do is stir up more resentment within the black community who see systemic racism as an inarguable fact because everybody keeps on fucking telling them that they live in a world or a country that never wants them to succeed. Not all black people are in a poor situation economically. College-educated black couples earn more money than white college-educated couples. Nigerians in America are doing really well, right? But Black Lives Matter talks as if black people are all the same, all have the same view, are all on the same economic level apart from like the rappers and the fucking sports stars. And the only reason worth discussing, like the only reason in existence at all, is the assumption of systemic racism.
At the heart of the prevailing social vision of our times is the seemingly invincible fallacy that group outcomes in human endeavors would tend to be equal, or at least comparable or random, if there were no biased interventions.
Yes.
And explain that for us.
Well, empirically, it is the easiest way to explain it. Almost nowhere, anywhere in the world, or at any period of history, do you find any society in which groups that compete openly end up with the same results. There's a study of families where one of the kids becomes a National Merit Scholarship finalist. In 5-child families, the firstborn becomes the finalist more times than the other 4 siblings combined.
It's also not discrimination. It's just luck, birth order, the luck of the draw.
Well, but it's more than that. It tells us something about the importance of parental attention in the development of a child. The other thing is so frustrating. I can come up with umpteen different examples of this disparities in various situations, including situations where it is not possible for it to be either discrimination or genetics. People on the other side cannot give you one example. You can read reams of paper by advocates of social justice and not find one example anywhere in the world. There are people who've done international studies. Braudel, I quote, the French historian. He said, in no society has all parts of the population had the same outcomes.
People really cared. They'd care about the data, the huge amount of global data, where you can start to see why only focusing on certain bits to try and paint a picture of systemic racism when it comes to white people and black people, it's ridiculous, it's laughable. If we carry on this way, then everything is going to be fucked for a very long time to come. That's my thoughts on the matter for now, anyway. I'll be trying to upload my documentary as soon as possible. Until then, people, stay safe.